Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're going to be talking all about TNA Bound for Glory. I know that honestly, when it comes to TNA, they're probably one of the least talked about companies in the world of professional wrestling right now. I think that a lot of people are counting down the days until TNA is dead. This could be the last TNA ever pay-per-view. And honestly, you can sort of see that they are... It's hard to say. I mean, I don't want to say that they're going down in flames, but honestly, you can tell that there's no real buzz, there's no real pop, there's nothing really in the air talking about Bound for Glory. They made a huge change to their main event of Bound for Glory. Of course, this was a pre-taped, already determined things. If you read the spoilers weeks ago, when they shot all of the TNA Impact tapings, you would have known this is already going to happen, but if you're sort of living TNA week to week, watching it on television on Destination America, you're one of the very few. But honestly, I was trying to keep track of what was going down. It's getting harder and harder each and every week, just for the fact that there's nobody really watching and making reviews on YouTube. Brian and Vinny haven't been doing Impact reviews in a long time, since Vinny pretty much threatened to quit if they kept watching TNA. Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, very rarely even bring up TNA. And when they do, it's only talking about their Destination America deal, basically where they got extended until the end of the year. Bound for Glory on paper could be their last pay-per-view, trying to, at least until the end of the Destination America era. And where TNA goes from there, I'm not sure. I mean, there's nobody really jumping on saying, I want to carry your television. There's been talks for probably well over a year that Billy Corgan was going to be able to get TNA signed to WGN based out of Chicago. But the one thing that came to my mind is that Destination America really doesn't want to have TNA anymore. TNA sort of doesn't really want to be with Destination America anymore. And if there's a shot that they're going to be able to be signed and put on WGN, why are they staying with Destination America until the end of the year? It just sort of seems like it's a Band-Aid that they're just trying to hopefully find an extension to where they can jump on somewhere. A lot like what happened with Spike last year, where they basically got told, find a new network by this date. They weren't able to find a network by that date, and so Spike said, you can stick around for a little bit longer. We don't want to leave on bad terms, so why don't you guys stay with us until the end of the year? Then you guys can hopefully have a little bit of extension in order to find a new network. When you look at the Bound for Glory card, they really have 7 matches. Honestly, when it comes down to it, 2 of these matches should honestly be very good. Kurt Angle going up against Eric Young, and Lashley versus Bobby Roode, the King of the Mountain match. Of course, it was Lashley and Roode. They kicked off the Destination America era for TNA, of course, with their big fight with Bobby Roode had beat Lashley for the championship. I believe it was on the last Impact that was on Spike, but they had traded the championship back and forth. Lashley at that time was teamed up with MVP and Kenny King, a part of the Martin Luther King stable, and they had some really, really good matches, but they couldn't do those matches until the end of time, so they had to move on. But now that they have this new, I don't know what to call this. The King of the Mountain, to me, honestly, is a title that they created for the Global Force angle, and the Global Force angle really bombed out pretty bad. So I don't know if they believe that this title has a lot of mystique to it. It's formerly the World Champion. What do they call it? The Global Championship. It's the Legends Championship, the TNA television title. A lot of real TNA fans don't really believe that there's a lot of hype behind this championship, but if it gives us a match between Lashley and Roode, I think it's going to be a good one. The Ultimate X match is going down with Tigre Uno. They aren't even telling us who his 3 competitors are going to be. I don't know if they're going to use this as sort of the reveal to get us to Bound for Glory, or if they're just going to come out at Bound for Glory. But you think about it, if they announce one today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 of the guys that will be competing in there, maybe that's one way of hyping up Bound for Glory and making you stay on their Twitter. Gail Kim versus Awesome Kong, playing off the huge rivalry from probably 2009, I guess, maybe 2010. They're going to have a match for the Knockouts Championship. We had the Bound for Gold match with, nine guys competing to see who the number one contender for the championship is going to be. Then you have the Wolves versus the Global Force Rejects, Trevor Lee and Brian Myers for the tag team titles. Of course, them getting their rematch for the titles. And then your main event, which was just changed on Impact, EC3 versus Matt Hardy versus Drew Galloway for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship with your special guest referee, Jeff Hardy. There's lots of talks that basically the reason why TNA went to the Carolinas for Bound for Glory is the fact of what Omega Wrestling means to the Carolinas. I know when I think of the Carolinas, I think of Ric Flair country, but I guess Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy have been running these independent shows that really draw big numbers. They don't really overpopulate the people with shows. They just pop up every once in a while. TNA is seeing the success of these shows. So they're thinking if they go there and they have a wrestling show with their guys, they're more than likely going to have a big turnout. You know, they've been able to sell out all of their VIP tickets, but if you go on and you look at their Ticketmaster site, they still have tickets in the fourth row. So it's not like people are really tripping over each other to be getting into the arena and buying tickets for this. So we'll have to see what it is. I mean, they've had a few hiccups along the way because of the fact that they taped so far in advance. I believe there was supposed to be some sort of a Beautiful People versus the Dollhouse match, seeing how they did the reunion of the Beautiful People, Velvet Sky, Angelina Love, and Taylor Wilde? No, not Taylor Wilde. Taylor Wilde's the other one. Madison Rain. There you go. It's been a long time since I've even heard about Taylor Wilde. What happened to her? She just really fell off the face of the earth. The last thing I heard about Taylor Wilde is that she was working at the Sunglass Hut in Orlando in the mall. So we'll see what goes down with that. I heard rumors that Angelina Love got pregnant, and that's the reason why that they're not having this match anymore. So we'll have to see what goes down. Bound for Glory coming right up around the corner on Sunday. It's going to be fun. Let's talk about all these matches.